Have you ever lost everything you've spent your entire life trying to build? Not just money, not just a home. Everything. Your memories, your future, your purpose. Because that's exactly where this story begins. After surviving years of violence, betrayal, political wars, and family tragedies in Yellowstone, Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler thought they had finally escaped the chaos. They thought they had found peace. But peace has never been something the Duttons get to keep. And what happens next proves that once again. The story opens on a beautiful evening in Montana. For the first time in what feels like forever, Beth and Rip are genuinely happy. The sun is setting across the Yellowstone landscape. The mountains glow gold. The air is quiet. No enemies. No business deals. No family wars. Just Beth and Rip riding their horses together. And honestly, seeing Beth smile without looking ready to destroy someone feels almost strange. For a few brief moments, life feels normal. The couple eventually stops beneath a tree. They talk about the future, about slowing down, about making time for each other, about always riding together no matter what happens. It's one of the most peaceful moments either character has ever experienced. But then, the sky changes. A flash of lightning cuts across the horizon, and in an instant, everything falls apart. A wildfire erupts. Fast, violent, unstoppable. The flames race across the land faster than anyone can react. Suddenly, the peaceful ranch becomes a war zone. Rip starts cutting fences to free cattle trapped in the fire's path. Beth rushes to save Carter and whatever they can carry. Smoke fills the air. Animals panic. The fire spreads in every direction. And the worst part? Everyone already knows they're losing. They're not trying to save the ranch anymore. They're trying to survive. Because this ranch wasn't just property. It was their dream. Their fresh start. Their chance to build a life away from the ghosts of Yellowstone. And now it's burning right in front of them. The fire destroys everything. 6 months later, we find Beth, Rip, and Carter in a completely different world. Rio Paloma, South Texas. And from the moment we arrive, it's obvious this place is nothing like Montana. Gone are the mountains. Gone are the forests. Gone is the cool air. Everything here feels hotter, harsher, dustier, more dangerous. The family has purchased a massive 5,000-acre ranch, an 80-year-old property complete with 175 Black Angus cattle. On paper, it looks like a dream. But looks can be deceiving. Because despite the new ranch, despite the fresh start, none of them feel at home. They're surviving, not healing. And that difference matters, especially for Beth. While trying to establish a new beef business, Beth quickly discovers something troubling. There is one family in Rio Paloma that controls almost everything, and their name is Jackson. At the center of that empire stands Beulah Jackson, a woman who owns the powerful 10 Petals Ranch. A ranch so influential that local businesses, law enforcement, and politics all seem connected to it. When Beth first meets Beulah, the tension is immediate. Neither woman raises her voice. Neither woman loses control. But you can feel the hostility. These are two people used to dominating every room they enter. And neither intends to back down. At first, Beth assumes Beulah is just another wealthy ranch owner. But she soon realizes something much more unsettling. The Jackson family doesn't just influence Rio Paloma. They practically run it. And while Beth is meeting her future rival, something much darker is already happening behind the scenes. A cowboy named Wes Ayers works for the 10 Petals Ranch. One night, he becomes suspicious about missing money and bookkeeping irregularities. Unfortunately for him, he asks the wrong questions. Because Will Jackson hears about it. Will is Beulah's son. And unlike his mother, he doesn't rely on strategy. He relies on fear, violence, impulse. and alcohol. In the middle of the night, Will wakes Wes up. At first, it seems like a conversation. Then suddenly, without warning, Will shoots him. Dead. Just like that. No dramatic speech. No lengthy confrontation. Just murder. Cold. Fast. Casual. And that single decision will change everything. Because Will doesn't realize it yet. But his crime is about to collide directly with Beth and Rip's new life. Meanwhile, Carter is trying to adjust to Texas. And honestly, he's struggling. He feels out of place. Lonely. Disconnected. School isn't helping. Neither is the fact that he's still trying to figure out who he is without Yellowstone. Then he meets a girl named Oriana. And for the first time since arriving in Texas, something feels exciting again. But Carter has no idea who Oriana really is. And if he did, he might have stayed far away. Because what happens next is about to pull him directly into the center of a war that's only just beginning. And trust me, the Duttons haven't even seen the real danger yet.
6 months after the fire, Beth, Rip, and Carter are still trying to rebuild their lives in Rio Paloma. But nothing here feels like a fresh start. It feels like a trap. Rip begins working the new land immediately, trying to restore order. But Texas doesn't cooperate. The cattle behave differently, the land feels unfamiliar, and the people even more dangerous. Then everything changes. One night, Rip notices something wrong on the ranch, something moving in the dark. He investigates, and what he finds changes everything. A dead body, a man named Wes Ayers, half hidden, already rotting. And Rip immediately understands one thing. This wasn't random. This was a message. But Rip doesn't tell Beth. He doesn't tell Carter. He doesn't tell anyone. Instead, he moves the body, quietly, carefully, like he's done this before. Because in Yellowstone, this was routine. But in Texas, nothing stays buried. While Rip is dealing with the dead man, Beth is building something new. She focuses on business, beef deals, high-end buyers in Dallas. And she makes progress fast. Too fast. Because Beth Dutton doesn't negotiate. She dominates. But she soon realizes something unsettling. Every major business in Rio Paloma seems to be connected back to one source, Beulah Jackson. And that means Beth is not entering a free market. She is entering someone else's kingdom. Meanwhile, Carter is falling deeper into Oriana's world. They skip school, they sneak out, they drink, they laugh, and for Carter, it feels like belonging. But Oriana is dangerous in ways he doesn't understand yet, because she is not just a girl from town. She is Beulah Jackson's granddaughter, and Will Jackson's daughter, which means Carter is now emotionally connected to the center of the most powerful family in Rio Paloma, and nobody realizes how fast this is going to explode. The tension in Rio Paloma begins to rise, fast. Rip investigates Wes Ayers quietly, trying to trace where the murder came from, but every path leads back to the Jacksons. At the same time, Beulah Jackson begins tightening her control over everything. She doesn't just run ranching operations, she runs people. Law enforcement, business deals, even silence. And then we learn something even darker. Wes didn't just die. He was executed. That detail changes everything, because now this isn't a ranch conflict, it's a cover-up war. Sheriff Wade is pulled into the situation, and he starts asking questions. But Beulah makes it clear, some questions are better left unanswered. Meanwhile, Carter and Oriana's relationship escalates, fast, too fast. They go from flirting, to skipping responsibility, to full emotional attachment. Then Carter crosses a line. He gets involved in violence tied to Oriana's abusive boyfriend. And suddenly, Carter is no longer just a ranch kid. He's now part of Rio Paloma's criminal tension. The moment he gets arrested, everything shifts, because law enforcement is now watching him, and so is Beulah Jackson, and she does not like attention on her family. Back on the ranch, Rip finally confirms something terrifying. Wes Ayers' death is connected to the Jackson operation, and that means Beth and Rip are not just living on new land, they are living inside a controlled system, a system built on secrecy, power, and violence, and they are surrounded. Everything reaches a breaking point. Rip makes a decision that changes the tone of the entire season. He removes Wes's body completely, not just hiding it, erasing it. A modern version of the train station is born in Texas.
No witnesses, no trace, no mercy. But this decision doesn't bring peace, it brings consequences. Because now Rip is part of the cover-up, whether he wanted it or not. Beth, meanwhile, closes a major business deal in Dallas. For a brief moment, it feels like victory. But that victory lasts seconds, because Rip calls her home immediately. Something is wrong, very wrong. Back at the ranch, the nightmare begins. A disease spreads through the herd, foot and mouth disease. Fast, unstoppable, devastating. The entire cattle operation is now at risk. Rip realizes the truth slowly. The bull they bought was infected. This was never bad luck, it was sabotage. And when Beth confirms the vet paperwork is fake, everything becomes clear. They were set up. And that means someone is actively attacking the Dutton Ranch. Rip explodes with rage. He hunts down the cattle broker. And in true Dutton fashion, the revenge is immediate, violent, final. But it solves nothing, because the herd is still dying, and there is no cure. So Rip makes the hardest decision of his life. He orders the entire herd to be destroyed, one by one, shot by shot, under the Texas sky. It is not just cattle being killed, it is their future. Beth watches everything collapse. The business, the dream, the money, all gone. And Rip is left alone in the dark, broken by what he had to do. But the final blow hasn't arrived yet, because when Beth returns from Dallas, she sees the truth. The herd is gone, the ranch is empty, and the war for Rio Paloma has already begun. By episode 4, Dutton Ranch is no longer just about survival. It is about control. Beth and Rip are not building a ranch. They are entering a battlefield disguised as a business town. The Jackson family controls the system. The land is poisoned with secrets, and Carter is drifting into a world he doesn't understand yet. Every storyline is now connected. Every character is compromised. And every decision moving forward will come with consequences. Because in Rio Paloma, nothing stays buried forever. And someone is always watching.